The push for a four-year college degree losing steam mercifully, and Gen Z's path to success is changing rapidly. Dirty Jobs host Mike Rowe is doubling his investment in trade careers, boosting his scholarship fund to $10 million. And it's not just Rowe betting on skilled labor bigly. Major companies like Lowe's and BlackRock are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into training. We all love this. Kenny?
Listen, I think it's great, and there's a whole generation of Gen Zers that I know that have decided they don't want to do this 9-to-5 big corporate job. They want to do something either like this, or they want to do something more entrepreneurial themselves. They are not interested in going to college, taking on the debt. They don't need to necessarily, and so I think it's exciting, and I think there's big opportunity for some, because these people are not making a little money. They're very well paid.
I totally agree. He's kind of up against the giant of the system, though, that just with kids who are teenagers right now, things are so geared to get us as parents thinking about college and them as parents thinking about college. You know, the government's throwing money at them. And the schools already have built-in pipelines to kind of hook you and get you thinking. So it's a good start, but like there's a lot of fighting that has to be done so that a kid in high school can look at the landscape and the trades can be like on a level playing field with all the advantages colleges have, because the government tips that scale.
But I think that I think at some of these schools, they're bringing these tradesmen in. They're bringing people in like Mike Rowe. They're bringing other people in to talk about the trades and what they really are.
And that's, I think, the key for me, because I've often said that going to Harvard is not worth it, except that if I'm an entrepreneur, and then I know that I can call the Harvard alumni and I'll raise my first $10 million seed round.
Right.
Because my network, that friends and family seed round that I need the money to start my business, I have that network, that alumni community. That's what I think the trades need for the networking, the community, to get a sense of, I want to start a new business, but I don't want to do the traditional route, Brian, of going to a small business association or a small business loan. I want to be able to call you up as part of my alumni network and say, I'm raising money. I'm doing a friends and family round. I want seed money to start. And that's what I want to see. And I think that would go tons a long ways for being away from college, which for now, the biggest reason is that networking, that alumni association where you can call them and they'll invest.
I love what Mike Rowe is doing here. And he is very passionate about this through his foundation. I love the fact that he's doubling the award size to really drum up business around this, because there's still people, I feel, that are torn with breaking from the traditional path. Just feels uncomfortable for them, and might even feel uncomfortable for their parents, that this is what everybody has done, a 4-year degree. And so, you know, my kid won't have that if I push them down this path. But I think that Mike and others, many people really believe that if you go down the trade route, you find something you like doing, you start your own business, you could be more successful than if you have this 4-year degree. And Taylor, I'm not talking about that, you know, Harvard person that raises the seed money. They're probably one in sort of a million, kind of, when you think about it. But for a normal person that was going to go maybe to a lesser university that doesn't have that kind of network, and they're going to go into debt as a result, or they're going to drain their parents' bank account as a result of it, and they could be in their own business. They can have a flex schedule, which we've talked about many times is very important to people, you know, run things on their own terms. And listen, if you have Republican presidents that are in charge and they're giving you tax breaks and doing all the things President Trump did in the big, beautiful bill, you can have a thriving business and make more than somebody who had the 4-year degree and has some job somewhere, low-level manager position with no upward mobility.
Right. Have you tried hiring a plumber or an HVAC person or electrician recently? Try it. See what you pay.
See what you pay and see if you can get them, because they're so busy with jobs that a lot of times they're blowing customers off because, like, they can't figure it, you know,
and if they're busy, they're successful. They're not doing it for nothing. And so, it comes back in spades.
And let's expand to, and we can move on, what we consider, move out of calling them trade jobs, because thankfully, a lot of the large tech companies, I had always, for years, been talking about, please start hiring people out of high school. Make an effort to go and find kids and educate them on the job. so they don't have to go deep into debt
Right.
and spend six figures on a degree that probably is going to be useless. And I know more and more companies, and it's not just Amazon and Amazon Web Services doing like a apprenticeship program for a data center role. It's like a Microsoft that will go out and find non-traditional candidates and give them apprenticeships and fellowships in like software engineering.
It's very valuable. When I was in college, I worked at a hedge fund. I did all my internships there and then ended up working for them when I graduated. And I remember saying, I'm a history major with an interest in finance, but I don't have an economics background and I can't do a lot of the things that, you guys do here. And the hedge fund manager said to me, you are smart. You've demonstrated that in multiple ways. I want to teach you my way anyway. I don't care what you learn there. Right. Come here and we'll teach you. And that's what ended up happening. And there's a lot of value and power in that. Why go learn something that actually isn't the way they necessarily want you to do it, and then you have to relearn it?
Right. My first journalism job, my boss, my editor, did not want to hire people with graduate degrees in journalism. He said, well, it shows that you're not good with money because you just wasted it. You didn't learn anything, and I'll teach you what you need to know to be a writer and a journalist.
Right.
I know you love this story, Taylor.
Yeah.
Children as young as 13 can now trade stocks straight from their phones. These are new brokerage accounts that are letting teens buy and sell assets without a parent's approval. It's a good idea, is it, to turn teenagers into investors before they're old enough to drive?
Yeah, my answer is yes. Here's why. I tell my 2-year-old, you're a baby. You can't dress yourself. Mom will help you. She doesn't dress herself. If I tell my 2-year-old, you're big and strong, put your pants on and do the laundry, she goes, okay, let me do it. I try. I'm big. If you raise the standards, kids rise to the occasion. If I tell my 13, 14, 15-year-old, here's the family, here's $100, you can open the teen account with my approval, see what you can do with it. Who am I to say that they can't do it? Maybe they'll learn something. Maybe there's a good lesson in financial management. Maybe they lose $100, lose their skin, and I tell them, good, now you know what it's like to lose money. Try something else next time. I like this.
It opens the dialogue. You start having conversations about it where they come to you and they ask questions.
Right.
And maybe they do lose money, but when you say, try it next time, you give them some ideas and you want to have that dialogue. I think it's households. This stuff comes not in school, not necessarily in college, as much as we talk about there should be more financial literacy. It starts at home, and kids who have an interest in it because their parents have an interest in it and they have a dialogue and this becomes dinner table conversation are going to have higher odds of being successful in their future.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's right. And I think it encourages, you get these young kids, they start to get curious. And to your point, if they lose money, they realize they lost it. And then they come back and they say, Dad, what could I do next time that's different? Or Mom, what could I do next time? Or did I make the wrong investment? Should I not have bought that? Should I have bought something else?
Or,
I
thought about it. What do you think if I try it this way next time?
100%.
And they come up with their own
They're
plan
going to come
B.
back and say, Dad, I need more money.
Okay, they
I
might.
lost all my
Okay,
money.
they might.
Oh, you lost it all? What'd you buy? Papa John's? Yeah, I bought Papa John's.
Okay, that's
okay,
right.
so now I got to give him more money?
Okay, wait a minute. Before you give them more money now, maybe you put more guardrails on it.
Right.
So,
Right?
Well,
It's
why'd you buy Papa John?
Right.
Because a smart guy on TV told me to do it. I just don't understand
Was
why.
that a former college professor?
Why do you want to cut out? I don't see why you want to cut out. I feel like this is cutting out the parents instead of involving them. That's my only thing. Like, why do you want to create this thing where it's like your parents won't know, they can't be involved? I don't.
Not knowing maybe is an issue. I would agree. I mean, if they're going to do it,
I've seen enough social media.
I'm not so
stuff
sure
with
why
kids.
it has to be secret. I don't necessarily think it should be
place
secret.
trades without the approval, but we're part of the Fidelity Youth account, right? So I have to be able to say, open their account, give them the money.
Right.
But then they can place the trades on their own. Good. They want to do Papa John's and lose their shirt. That's on them.
It's
Brian.
right on the brink. It's
Hey,
just about ready.
hey, old man, stop stealing my stock ideas over here. You do your own thing. I'm obsessed with Demolo Adamalakan, who's the CEO of Red Lobster. I hope he comes on the show at some point. That's how he got his start investing. He opened an investment account when he was in high school.
Right.
Because he wanted to invest in houses during the boom, and he didn't have enough money to put it in a home or an investment property. And so he started investing in stocks, went to Brown on, I think, a football scholarship, got an internship at Goldman Sachs when he was 19, and then went to work for Paulson, the
Right,
hedge fund.
hedge fund.
And wound up, they made an investment in P.F. Chang's, ran P.F. Chang's, now he's running Red Lobster.
Part of it is fear. You want to rip off the Band-Aid too. I personally didn't place my own trade until I was probably in my 30s, and I remember being terrified to do it. If you become just more familiar and more comfortable with it at an earlier age, I think it just becomes more accessible.
But it didn't exist.
You approve it. By
Yeah.
the time Brian gets back to little Timmy and says, sure, you can place that trade, it's over.
Right.
You missed
It may be. But, you know, to
True.
Not
your
time in
point.
the market. It's time in the market,
On
Taylor.
that-
How many times
but
are we going
We
to
got
tell
to
you?
jump.
Okay,
Kenny.
go ahead.
Love you. Coming up, bad news.